Hey everyone, welcome back to Bible Verse Breakdown. I'm your friend Ewaenruwa Nomaren, and in this video we are going to be breaking down the verse Psalm chapter 33 verse 18, which reads, "Behold, the eye of the Lord is upon them that fear him, upon them that hope in his mercy." So there are a few terms here which I think we should look into before we get into some examples of how this actually works. So the eye of the Lord in this case is not referring to a physical eye that God has. God Almighty, of course, isn't physical. He's a spirit, according to John chapter 4, verse 24. And so he doesn't have the kind of eyes that we do. As Job said, "Hast thou eyes of flesh, or seest thou as man seeth?" If you read Job chapter 10, verse 4. So rather, it's referring to the care or the attention of God, which tends to favor his children. Then the phrase "fear him," that doesn't necessarily mean, we are afraid of God or we dread God. It's referring to having respect for God, wanting to walk according to his ways. As King Solomon said, "The fear of the Lord is to hate evil. Pride and arrogancy and the evil way and the froward mouth do I hate." Proverbs chapter 8, verse 13. So those are the things that God hates. So we now have respect for God's laws by hating those things too and by walking righteously. Then the phrase "hope in his mercy." It's not necessarily referring to, God Almighty forgives an individual, so then you have hope in that. It's a little bit bigger than that. The mercy in this case is actually the entire purpose of God concerning humanity and the promises that he made about how he would have mercy on his creation. As the psalmist said, "Thou shalt arise and have mercy upon Zion, for the time to favor her, yea, the set time is come." If you read Psalms chapter 102, verse 13. So that's the kind of mercy that the text is talking about. And then we have hope in the plan of God concerning our salvation. As Jeremiah the prophet spoke about in his book of Lamentations, we should have hope in the salvation of the Lord. "The Lord is good unto them that wait for him, to the soul that seeketh him. It is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Lord." If you read Lamentations chapter 3, verses 25 and 26. Based on all this, we can now look at some examples. If you look at the way God Almighty protected Abraham, for example, you can see just how the eye of the Lord can be upon such ones. Abraham went into Egypt in Genesis chapter 12 because of a famine. And because Sarah was a beautiful woman, as Abraham had said, the king of Egypt had taken her into his house. Now, because Abraham was very special to God, God Almighty began to bring lots of plagues upon Egypt and Pharaoh's house until Sarah was given back to Abraham, just because God saw Abraham as an important person and didn't want anything to happen to him. And he did something similar to the house of Abimelech in Genesis chapter 20. If you also look at the way he protected Lot in Genesis chapter 19, verse 22, you can also see the same thing. The angels told Lot that they could not destroy the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, cities that had thousands of people, because of one person that they wanted to save. It shows that the eye of the Lord is on his children. He protects them. He cares for them. He makes sure they're in safety. One more example is in Genesis chapter 35, verse 5, where we see that when Jacob was traveling to Bethel to make an altar, which God saw as a good thing, he put his terror or his fear on all the cities around them to make sure that they wouldn't attack Jacob. Just as how in some countries, when the president is traveling through, they secure all the buildings and the roads to make sure that nothing bad comes suddenly on the president or the prime minister or the important man. However, it's not just about protection. God also looks to see whether his children need anything or if they're asking for anything so that he can give it to them. As the psalmist said, "The eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry." Read Psalms chapter 34, verse 15. And also, if he wants to bless his children or bless people, he always has his children in mind. For example, when God wanted to bring a forerunner to announce the presence of his son Jesus Christ, he remembered the righteousness and purity of Zacharias and Elizabeth. How, despite the fact that they had no children, they were walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord, blameless, if we read Luke chapter 1 verse 6. So when God wanted to give that kind of blessing, he remembered those two people and, of course, gave it to them. So that is how God Almighty looks after his children, cares for them, and always has them in mind. The psalmist said in Psalm 84 verse 11 that if we walk uprightly, then anything that God sees good for our lives, he'll of course give it to us. For the Lord God is a sun and shield. The Lord will give grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from them that walk uprightly. And that is where I'm going to stop. I'm breaking down what the psalmist said in Psalm chapter 33 verse 18, which reads, Behold, the eye of the Lord is upon them that fear him, upon them that hope in his mercy. So, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you will be notified when we come back with another video. As always, have a great day, and God bless you.